Today, I have some super exciting news regarding Project OverTechnical. So, I've been working on this for quite some time, and I am super excited to tell you that I have some major updates as of this particular devlog. And I wanted to go ahead and discuss with you guys what's been added and what's been changed. A lot of it has just been back end basic mod updates with like translations and bug fixes and things like that. Something that you probably are not going to care about. But the major stuff, that is what I'm going to be discussing with this particular update. So, welcome back to yet another Project OverTechnical devlog. So a very quick recap for those who are not familiar with this mod pack. You can go ahead and skip to here if you're familiar. Basically, this is a mod pack that I've been developing for a little bit of time, where the main focus is massive factories and as well as the ability to go to space. And this uses Create and Mechanism, and you can do an absolute insane amount of stuff with it. This is on 1.20.1 Forge, so unfortunately aeronautics is not a thing. This pack has been in development since before aeronautics, so I will apologize for that, but that is technically not my fault. But regardless, this update is going to be the biggest update so far, and as of right now, not currently available to the public, but that is hopefully going to change soon. So, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get this clipboard out of the way shortly, and this is going to come in last, I promise you. But we're going to go over two things that have been changed that are not going to be on this clipboard. And there's a reason for that, because this is all Create Mod stuff. So first off, this is a brand new mod that's been added to the pack called Man of Many Planes. This is an add-on to Immersive Aircraft. And it just adds in these two airplanes. And these are supposed to be Create Mod-esque, but they do honestly look really cool. I am not going to lie. You've got your economy plane and you have your Scarlet biplane. And these two models look so good. I am not even going to lie. So that's the first major update that's been added to this pack. And the other one is this right here. So we have a mod in this pack called Vanilla Backport. This adds in features from future versions of the game and backports them. And also, I did not plan for that to happen, but the most recent update to Vanilla Backport adds in the Sulfur Cube, the Chaos Cubed update. And I'm not entirely sure what's going on with these sulfur spikes. That's probably just a bug that needs to be patched out. I did not develop this, I just installed it. So hopefully that gets fixed a little bit sooner than later, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know why we're that way, but that's beside the point. So, there it goes again. So, let's go over the Create Mod stuff next, and we're going to go over the structures first. So, the first one is called Create Structures, and I spent a good amount of time trying to get this to happen once. I placed the villages down using the place command. It took way too many attempts just to get it to work once, so it's going to be an absolute mess. You can ignore that. But Create Structures adds in these buildings that can spawn in villages that have working Create Mod structures. I did not turn this on. This was on by default, and it doesn't have a ton of stuff in it, but honestly, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can get some pretty early Create Mod structures, so that's definitely a nice touch. And the next one that is Create Mod focused is going to be in this direction, and that is Create Villagers Arise. Now, I am currently in Peaceful right now, but these structures, and there are a few different variants, by the way, these structures spawn with pillagers and have an absolute ton of Create Mod loot. Like, look at this right here. You have 3 mechanical arms right off the bat. That is kind of expensive, and you can get them for free. You just have to fight off a bunch of pillagers, and there are actually pillager spawners as well. So yeah, like I said, I am in Peaceful, so you're not going to see any of that, but you can get some insane loot. You just gotta defend yourself in order to get access to it, which is kind of nice. It is a nice balance. So that's out of the way. The World Gen's out of the way. So let's go over what's actually brand new. So first off is create stock bridge, and that's going to be this block right here. This is the only block that was added in this mod. All it does, its entire purpose, is to make a link between your applied energetic storage, so your digital storage, and your stock ticker storage from Create Mod. So it is a pretty powerful block. I have not fully tested this myself, but I know people are going to be excited to go ahead and run with this. So that is why I threw that in here, because I know people are going to want to go ahead and take advantage of that. So that's why that's been added. Next, we have parallel pipes, and this one's more aesthetic, although it does have actual functionality to it. So this is a pretty simple idea. So if I go ahead and do this, I can actually go ahead and change what pipes are connected where. So that is actually kind of handy, not even gonna lie. And if you really want to, you can shift click and completely reset it. But yeah, if you need pipes without the need for turning them to glass to be not connected, you can actually do it. So it's a pretty easy thing to go ahead and do. You just have to actually make the custom wrench itself. So there's that. You have create mixed casings right over here. And these are all andesite casings, just with different aesthetics. So I'm going to go ahead and showcase this very briefly. I'm not going to go over absolutely everything. I'm not sure why there's two andesite element there, but that's beside the point. So you can go ahead and first off make a brand new type of casing, iron casing. So that's completely brand new. And the rest of it you can actually go ahead and customize pretty easily by doing just this. So yeah, you've got now a copper casing, an andesite casing, a brass casing, and you can go ahead and just change whatever aspects you want on the actual casing itself. So this is actually just a very simple customized casing mod, and they work exactly as you would expect them to. You can get these to work exactly like normal train casing, which I didn't even realize I did that. You can use them as normal train casing, you can use them as normal copper casing, andesite casing, things like that, just with different aesthetics. It works exactly the same as normal. So there's also the fact that you can have custom gearboxes and things like that. So do keep that in mind. It's more aesthetic than anything, but it does look pretty cool. So the last one on the list, and before I go any further, technically this is not the last one on the list because that book inside the ender chest is technically the last part. We'll get to that soon, I promise. But the last one on this list specifically is bits and bobs. And this adds in a few different things. For example, you can go ahead and create something like this. I just put this up here for aesthetic purposes only, but you can actually chain together all of your cogs using actual vanilla chains. So you can transfer your rotation pretty easily. And this does actually include gear ratios, believe it or not. So you can actually have these connect pretty well. There are a few other things that are included in this as well that I do want to go ahead and showcase very briefly if I can find the tab that is. Okay, it's right here. So I'm not going to go over absolutely everything in this, but you have some brand new Nixie tubes, you have a couple of different light bulbs, you have the chairs which you saw earlier, some new girders, and these specific cogwheels, which they're just basically the same except they only work with the chain links. So yeah, there is that. So now let's get into what I am going to say is probably the most exciting part about all this. It's not going to look exciting as of this video because it is very bare bones and needs a lot of back-end stuff done on it. But we have patchouli in here. So yeah, this is the biggest update that I have thus far, at least in my opinion. Now, it's not going to be super exciting when I show it to you right now. This has a lot of back-end stuff I need to do, like I said, but yeah, I mean, again, like I said, it's not super exciting, but I've got a lot of back-end to do, I've got a lot of writing to do, but once I'm done with that, this book is going to be filled with a bunch of information regarding the pack itself, and it was an absolute headache to get this thing to work. I am not even joking. I could not, for the life of me, figure this thing out until recently, within the past week or so. So the fact that I even got this working with a basic test entry is super exciting for me. It is a pretty big accomplishment for someone like me. I realize that's not saying a lot, but I'm going to have basic tips and tricks that you're going to be able to learn about with this that you may not necessarily know unless you are an expert in any of these mods. And some of these you might not even think about unless you're an expert with these mods. Things that you might not even find in JEI or Ponders. So this is going to be an incredibly powerful book once I get more entries in here. So there's definitely that. And on top of that, I still need to work out how exactly I'm going to get crafting recipes to make the book itself, as well as having the players spawn with this by default. Yes, I want players to actually spawn with this by default, and of course, if they lose it, crafting recipe. I still gotta work a lot of stuff out with this, but having a very simple test entry right off the bat may not seem like a lot as far as this video, but it says a lot for the future of this pack. And I'm actually going to end this video off by saying one very specific thing. And that's the fact that I am at a point where I think I'm comfortable with where the pack is currently sitting. If I add any more mods, it's not going to be a ton like I did in this particular video. But I think I'm at a point where I'm actually super comfortable with the pack as a whole. And once I get a lot of back-end stuff done, this pack will be ready for a private alpha test. And then once that's all done and I get my feedback, public release. That's right, I am getting that comfortable with this pack already. So that is where Project OverTechnical currently stands. So with that out of the way, this is actually where I'm going to end off this video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. If you want more, make sure to hit the subscribe button for future content. But yeah, with that, I will see you guys later.